boy, we're doing an Action Forms game again, kids. And you know what that means. Premium, gold star, world-class, top-tier Slav jank from the makers of Chasm and Vivisector. Here I am thinking that it's the middle of winter and we could all use a bit of those cold, frozen vibes, maybe blast some snowmen with a light machine gun. Well, no, not today, because despite the game being made by Action Forms, it's not really what I would classify as an action game. It's more of a survival horror puzzle game with a few guns, and a few not guns, and whatever this water cannon is supposed to be. Notably, one of the first games to use NVIDIA physics technology for water and sparks and all sorts of things, but guess what? Hey, listen. We're not going to see a lot of that, because this game is also, in the tradition of Action Forms, jank. How jank? Well, here's a demonstration of some of those wonderful effects you won't see for the rest of the video, running at a lower frame rate than the rest of the game, a game that is noted for having performance issues even on modern hardware. That's not why I'm not running it in 4K though, you might notice, because the game supports 4K. Also, in the tradition of Action Forms games, I can't buy this anywhere, so I'm stuck with one of those copies that's technically from Good Old Games, until it was delisted.
Long ago, there lived a tribe of people in a place that was bounded on 3 sides by impenetrable forests, and on the 4th by the steppe.
Alright kids, this story is important. Try to pay maximum attention.
But evil times came upon them. Other tribes came warring against them and drove them into the depths of the forest. They had to get out of the forest, but there were only 2 ways. One was to go back over the road they'd come, but at the end of it, strong and vicious foes awaited them. But there they'd encounter the giant trees.
You see, without the truth of the eyes, the happy folk were blind.
Okay, I know, this is a lot of story. But you're wrong, this isn't the story, okay? It is the story, but it's an allegory of the story of the game. Usually Action Forms waits until about the second half of the game to get weird with things, but they're off the chain with this one. It is at this point that we wake up inside of the ship, freezing to death, grabbing a flashlight and crashing. So we wake up, open a door, grab a flashlight, open the door, and crash again. Listen, all you have to do is patch the game to use more RAM on 64-bit systems and turn the effects and texture quality down, and yes, I have an NVIDIA card that supports physics, but I also was able to capture an entire playthrough without a single crash once I turned all that crap off. So that's what we're seeing. If you're watching this for the graphical fidelity of the game I'm covering, please leave a comment about how I'm not doing the game justice by turning off the special effects that run at a lower frame rate than the rest of the game and look like someone dropped something from After Effects into it. I don't even think they look that good. Anyway, I'm not playing this for the graphics, I'm playing it for the Action Forms goodness, because despite not having the best tech or the most money, Action Forms has delivered nothing but weird, solid experiences in the past. Rams with shotguns, moths on lights, let's go! Everything is covered in a thick layer of frost, as we're in the Arctic on a broken down nuclear icebreaker. That's weird. Usually I'm the one who makes the corpses. Cool effect though. I'll have to... Oh, that's the cutest PS2 doggy I've ever seen. Hi, doggy. Guess we know how he got into this mess. You can run by holding the L shift button, but watch the yellow indicator carefully. This shows your stamina. Yellow indicator. Oh, there it is, all low and pitiful like my health. My health is the red thing here, and the temperature is the red thing here. See, your health is basically your body temperature, and it's going down. Always. If you wanted a survival horror game to brutalize you in a new and interesting way, well, here you go. The next corpse flashes us back even further with 4 times the doggos. The next goes a little further into the main character's final moments before getting onto the ship. This is all going to become clearer later. Katie, can you run the clip of that thing later? Because there's stuff that's going to need piecing together right now. Katie? Katie?
Alexander Nesterov, a junior research assistant at the Pole 21 Polar Station, is due at coordinates 86 degrees 21 north, 74 degrees 57 east on the 27th of March 1981, where he will board the nuclear icebreaker North Wind.
We may not have NVIDIA's physics, but we still have physics, and this game won't let you forget it. The floors are covered in rubble you can kick around. It's not really important to gameplay, it's more set dressing. We get our first bits of heat when we start a generator that a man seems to have stuck his head in. The atmosphere of this game is extraordinary and oppressive. You see your own breath, ice cracks under you, icicles break off of doors as you open them. And my favorite part? As you're thawing out the room, you see the water from the melting ice trickling down the walls. It's goddamn beautiful. But I'm back out into the cold again. Hopefully I can warm up in this flashback.
Sit down. Warm up while it burns. I brought 2 more crates to dry.
Yeah.
Sit down. Warm up while it burns.
According to the story, this fire has been burning out for about 13 years. Nearly burnt out fires are some of the best heat sources in the entire game. Oh god, that's right, this is survival and horror. Guy with an axe and me with no weapons and no stamina. Even if I could run, I don't run very fast. Pull a chain off the door and bam, you've got a weapon. The Axeman seems to be gone, but I'm dragged into another flashback. Oh, that's dirty. To select the hand to strike with and to direct strikes, hold the movement keys W, S, A, D. That's something you probably should have told me before the fight started. It'll matter for a while until you get ranged weapons. Aha! How's that for kung fu fighting, you chicken shit? Hold the R mouse key to block. Oh, thanks, I guess. I learned pretty quickly that blocking only reduces damage taken, and that the best course of action when in a melee fight, or any fight really, is to stagger the enemies when they're about to attack. This buys you some time to finish them off, despite the fact that they are zombies, or ghosts, or possibly another kind of supernatural manifestation of the former crew of the North Wind. I can't promise this will all make sense in the end, but I don't know that going in, so I'm on edge, and when doors start opening on their own... You can save this man's life. Press the R mouse key to initiate your mental echo ability. It will let you into his past where you can correct his fatal mistake. My what can do what? And don't say it's explained in the manual, because it's not. I wasn't expecting to save anyone on this trip since the ship crashed in the 60s and it's now the 80s. But this is the puzzle part of the game I was talking about earlier. Whoa, here we go.
Through the door and up the stairs, quickly! It won't hold much longer!
Yes, sir.
Flag warning! Everyone must evacuate the first and second compartments! Get to the upper decks!
I'm going. God, that water on the walls looks so cool. Oh, you were unable to change this man's past in order to save him. Please try again.
Flag warning! Everyone must evacuate the first and second compartments! Get to the upper decks!
I don't understand this puzzle. It turns out I'm overthinking it.
This way, quickly! I'll hold the door! Move it! Come on!
Oh no, I'm not getting on that rickety-ass catwalk that's already broken. I'm gonna get onto the other rickety-ass catwalk that's already broken, and that's how we save this man. He's disappeared so he didn't die here, in a flood that eventually froze over, entombing him in ice. This is actually a really effective horror scenario. We see a flashback of the captain and first officer discussing their course, and I can't show all of the cutscenes in this video, but let me tell you, they are way better than they have any right to be. And the story itself is more compelling than any Slavjank has the right to be, and why Action Forms was the king of the genre. Listen, I've got some real qualifiers for what makes Slavjank. 1. Obviously it needs to be low budget and have weird technical issues. Check. 2. It needs to be way too ambitious, be it with the technology or story, regardless of the game's actual quality. Chaser is terrible while attempting to tell a solar system spanning story of intrigue. Vivisector is a bonkers Island of Dr. Moreau takeoff that is actually pretty fun and ends with 3. Nearly impenetrable philosophical discussions that probably don't belong in a B-tier video game. Ties into the over-ambition.
To stay in one's own time is the most important thing. This is the end of the road, Kurt. Let the newly born become the future.
Oh my god, it's a baby! A human baby!
What's important here is that the old captain, who's been in charge of this ship for 20 years, doesn't need the fancy technological navigation systems to make his way through the Arctic. He's an old salty sea dog, he knows what he's doing, so the ship crashes into an iceberg. This all sounds ridiculous, like it shouldn't work, but I don't know, this all works. Really well. I'm into it, I'm tense, I'm anxious, and not just because whenever you hit a loading screen, the game doesn't fade to black all the way and I'm terrified that it's about to crash. It's okay, this only happens like 16 times during the game. I need to warm up, let me... Oh, okay. Yeah, me and old Valvey here gonna kick some ice zombie ass. I should be making more ice puns here, right? Kick some ice? Everybody chill? Nothing? Really? Okay. We get into another flashback. The flashbacks are the more puzzly sections, but they also help to break up the gameplay. The fact that it's always warmer in flashbacks leads to things like this, where we're riding a boat and beating the zombies off and I have no health meter anymore, so who knows when I'll die. And the transition from the flashbacks to the present is always jarring in the right way. The color shifts from the brown and industrial back to the blue-white, unbearable cold.
Captain, a difficult stretch ahead. Should we go around?
A difficult stretch, you say? We'll manage. We can't afford to lose a whole day.
We might lose a lot more if it's as bad as it looks.
My crew has been through a lot worse than that.
Okay, here's the thing about the captain, right? You think he's making a bad decision. And he is, but not because of hubris exactly, but because they've been doing this stupid Arctic exploration for 2 decades. They know what they're doing. I can start an engine to stay warm, but there are still... things hunting me on this ship, and I don't have a traditional health bar. There isn't just fear in you dying, there's fear in dying over and over and over again as other people who are meeting untimely ends in terrible ways, like, you know, drowning inside of a metal can that then freezes over. Here's the thing, right, like, you remember that boat section? A bad game would repeat it again for diminishing returns, but cryostasis. In an action game, I would be really upset that the game stopped dead in the middle for a slow, plodding underwater section. But this is not an action game, and this section is creepy as hell.
Be careful when getting out of the elevator. The water is real murky. Turn left immediately and look for me. I'll be in the boat.
We got about 5 minutes of oxygen, and I've already seen the person in this suit dead.
Hey, what's happening out there? Watch out! There's a lot of junk at the bottom.
Can he not see the thing that's trying to kill me? Is the thing trying to kill me actually there? You see these cool swimming animations. As far as I can remember, this is the only time the game uses them. This game took me about 6.5 hours to complete, and very few of the areas are copied and pasted. They might look the same, but they're not. No, it's a strictly linear experience that, well, it learned the right lessons from Half-Life and made the set pieces as good as they could. I can't seem to find the notes I was taking while I was playing, so I have to assume I was so engrossed in what was going on that I didn't take any. There we go, another life saved, because there's a second segment.
What are you doing?
You know, this is action form, so I was expecting the game to be good. I was not expecting it to be great. Throughout the game, you're picking up more scraps of that story from the intro. These are actually real excerpts from a real story published in 1895 called Old Woman is Urgel by Maxim Gorky.
And so he led them, Danko. And they followed him willingly, for they believed in him. It was a difficult trek. It was dark, and at every step the yawning bog swallowed people up, and the trees were like a mighty wall, barring the way. And then they began to murmur against Danko, saying that he was young and inexperienced, and had no right to bring them here.
We came across that iceberg 3 hours earlier than I expected. How did that happen? How could I screw up so badly? Was it one of those moments when nature teaches you a painful lesson, and you realize that even the most experienced dowser can get it wrong?
Yeah, Cap, that seems to be the idea.
Considering the emergency, I feel that it is my duty as an officer to report that the wreck was a result of negligence and culpable inefficiency by the ship's captain.
I mean, yeah, but also using the word inefficiency in this circumstance makes you look like kind of a shithead. Say goodbye to your melee weapons, we got a gun now, and we took it out of a flashback. Nightmare on Elm Street rules? Perhaps. I've stopped questioning it. Okay, Just when I think this game is done with me, it does something new. While I'm still using the axe temporarily to save ammo, that's not as necessary as you'd think from a survival horror game. And since you can't even block with the axe for some damn reason, you'll see melee weapons less and less as the game goes on. In fact, within the next hour of game time, you'll probably never see them again. And then the zombie ghost communists get guns too. 3 or 4 shots to down them. Location-based damage doesn't seem to be a thing in this game, so center and mass shots should be fine. Remember when I said this game doesn't like to reuse scenes? It doesn't like to reuse enemies either. So now that you've got guns, the old brawling enemies go away, and you're left to face these welders. Alright, I can't get to this shiny new weapon without helping this guy in the chair not die. He's got glass through his chest and there's a window here. I think I've been able to deduce the cause of death. Okay, is it not the window? Maybe the door leading into the little chamber on the other side? Okay, so here's what you do. The only safe place is behind the chair. Okay, that one's dumb. And so is the weapon you get with it. The water cannon, which uses icicles, the single most common thing on this ship, and shoots a stream of hot water. If I want to make tea, this is awesome, but if I want to kill vaguely defined monsters that are a metaphorical representation of the crew's mistakes, well...
Now the flowers will grow.
The story in flashbacks is told in a fairly straightforward way, with the crew becoming dissatisfied with the captain after getting the ship stuck in an iceberg, with these flashbacks allowing you to be involved in keeping them alive. Here we've got...
I'm warning you! Stop! Get down! I'm asking you! I make no promises!
Steam kills, kids. Watch as this guy picks up a wrench and throws it at a guy with a gun. This is not the correct thing to do. Maybe my aim will be better.
I'm warning you! Stop! Get down! I'm asking you!
Well, you try throwing a wrench without a crosshair. So what you're supposed to do is use the wrench to turn off the steam over here so that the guy who died can get across to the ladder and send it down for you. This might be the first time in a game I'm actively saving as many things as I kill instead of just assuming that everyone survives after I save the world or something. It wasn't called Hollywood Holocaust because people survived it. Sir, you're definitely not real. There's no way you've survived here for... Watch out for that elevator! Oh, he was, I don't know what's real anymore. Oh, goddammit, more giant spider bullshit! Okay, maybe not a giant spider, more like a spider with ice legs that are not as brittle as you'd think ice legs would be. He only takes damage when he's out of the cold, so you have to shut the hatches in order to damage him. I forgot I'd picked up this double-barreled flare gun because I found out it wasn't a shotgun and ignored it. It isn't the worst weapon, but I think it does damage over time and can weaken the enemies, so it's not direct damage like a rifle shot to the dome. Once its legs are off, it goes down. Whatever it is. I was playing this right, and I'm wondering when I'm gonna get a weapon with a scope or something. You know, other than the iron sights on the guns. Because like I said, there's no crosshair. This isn't a game where you're supposed to be handling guns a lot, except in the last half, when you're primarily using guns. This weapon is basically the same as the rifle you get first, except it has a scope. Cool, right? See what I did there? Cool? Nothing? That's weird. Anyway, it turns out that a scope in a game where all of the combat is short to medium range inside of a giant tin can is as useful as condoms in a convent. It's kind of like having a crosshair in a weird place on the screen, and also hip firing it isn't accurate, so I don't know. As it stands, I'm using a slow World War II era rifle that you reload with the speed of somebody pushing a clip into a bolt-action rifle with big padded gloves on. That's about to change too. Here's the SVT-40, which is going to be the main weapon going forward. Ammo's surprisingly plentiful in this game if you're aiming well, and remember that location-based damage doesn't matter. Usually.
Oh, it's good to have you back in time.
Back in time? Ah, that's a good one. Where am I?
Hurry up. The captain is on his way here with another problem. Unsolvable again. He runs to me, and I console him. Like a child, really.
See, what you need to do is tell the captain that the problem will take 6 hours to fix, and then do it in 20 minutes. Keep your reputation as a miracle worker. So what am I doing?
Now, over the bridge and to the central console.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
Initiate graphite replacement protocol.
Of course, put the graphite rod into reactor 4. What could possibly go wrong?
You know, I'm very glad. No, really? What did you expect? You're a pain in the neck. Both of you. Yes, you and your sorry excuse for a ship. I'm so tired. Look, you're a big boy now. You can't play around forever. And I can't help you this time. Now go, please, go.
Harsh, but I thought he would come to you with, you know, an engineering issue, not a my first officer told on me issue. See, the captain has just been handed a message from HQ and, I feel kind of bad for him.
To the captain of nuclear icebreaker Northwind. Upon cargo delivery, proceed to destination for temporary docking. Your ship will be subsequently decommissioned. Prepare all necessary paperwork.
If I were him, I wouldn't want to go back to that. It's all the man seems to care about. Look, kids, I promise I'm going to put up a spoiler tag as soon as I know what's going on. No, I can't take that chance. The inside of the reactor has, changed. This is one of those few platforming sections in the game, and thank God for that. You have a weak jump, and I wouldn't call what happens in this game falling damage as much as spontaneous heart failure when leaving the intended path. You could die from falling 3 feet. You might think that was 3 feet because of how quickly it happened. Let me slow it down for you. Yeah, you reach terminal velocity real quick. With that in mind, I quick save before attempting any jump. Nope, you can't climb that. Looks like they've moved the bed somewhere warmer. It's a good idea.
Here's what we have. HQ is aware of our situation and is launching a rescue mission. We'll stay in contact as long as the radio is operational. Secondly, the valves are welded all around. The second line will take a long time to cool down, so we'll be warm for a while. Now, regarding food.
I really don't like how the flashback ended on regarding food. Even tiny desk lamps count as a heat source in this game. I can get 2/3 of my health up. Not that that matters. I'm not sure if I ever see full health during this. Oh fuck, there's mole miners. He's packing 2 SMGs. Oh, okay, maybe I imagined it. After a visit to the ship's clinic, I'm convinced that maybe I'm not imagining everything and that the crew was suffering from some kind of problem.
Doctor, will you look at this one?
Look at what? I can see it already. They are to the bone, almost glowing. Go check the pulse. I don't know, just makes no sense.
Glowing? Glowing? I don't like this. I don't like being here. I don't like the flashing lights or the suspicious autosaves or checking every corner, even though this game isn't really that. Oh, God. No, 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 no. Oh, come on, let the poor PS2 doggos out. They're not hurting anyone. They're probably hungry. Everyone is probably hungry. Okay, I'm okay. I got a submachine gun, which I didn't expect to ever get in a game like this. Handy for the bigger guys. This pan guy is bothering me. No, I don't want to touch him. What is happening? You know, this is an Action Forms game, and I still haven't seen the moth on the light like in Chasm or Vivisector. What the fuck was that? Action Forms has evolved beyond moths. They have Mothmen. Oh, you are a beautiful, beautiful butterfly. So the PPSH, the submachine gun you get, more of a burst fire than an automatic. Wall of bullets, very useful, except it kicks like a mule and some of the footage you see might be incomprehensible nonsense. I have no idea what's real anymore. We go to the meat lockers on the ship, probably the only things that still work as intended, am I right? The door closes behind me, that's normal, I think. Naturally, my temp bar is basically at... Did you just... Why are you reaching for the cow? What? But I don't want to be a cow. No, don't just walk into it. That's a guillotine. A delicious hamburger guillotine. I have to save the cows. Go now, you're free. I'm sure kale is delicious. Oh, I've made a terrible mistake. So there's a stealth section too, but I guess if you've ever played a video game before, you'll understand that you have to crouch. No, everything's going fine. I'm learning a lot about ice breaking. I'm gonna take a break and maybe watch a movie. That's cool. They have a theater on the ship. That must really help with morale. What? When I'm above a pit. God damn it!
The shielding initiated.
Can't we stop it? Do something!
Calm down. There's no need to rush anymore. It'll start soon.
How much longer?
Don't know. This is an automated process.
We need to get out of here.
And go where? What about the crew?
The crew will manage. Get the helicopter ready.
Without the captain's permission, I can't do that,
I'll
sir.
help you. We'll all do it together. I'll meet you up top in 10 minutes.
And it sent up a shower of sparks and went out.
I don't know how any of this could possibly go more wrong. You guys haven't seen a lot of the flashbacks or the rescues because there's only so much I can show in a video. But you know, we gotta talk about the reactor going critical and the somehow healing glow of these red cracks everywhere. It's good that the reactor went critical and exploded actually, because now we have these automatic no holding your hands out or anything health stations. I want to know why this happened, but I'm being attacked by another ice spider. Sci-Fi Channel presents ice spiders. There's one for everything. You remember when we didn't have guns in this game? So this time you have to shoot the red cracks to damage the ice spider, who will stop and repair them with ice webs. I just wanted to stop screaming so I can hear the captain.
I saw streaks of red stretching as far as the horizon. How could I hope to change the world if I didn't start with myself? If I had to change at least one man, let it be me.
It's, no, I think after the reactor goes, it's too late, Cap. You know, after this reactor goes, and then like 13 years later, I don't think I can take it after the cow.
I saw it. It went through that crack.
Probably has a wire in there.
Wonderful.
So, you, I'll keep checking over here.
Get to it.
Stuck in the narrow space between two low hills.
Then one day,
for the first time in his life, the bear had to confront not nature, but nature's highest creation.
You were my best creation.
You can't hear us.
Did I just do a stealth section as a polar bear?
Captain, are you out of your mind? We are up to our ears in ice. Ahead, slow.
What's the matter? Isn't this what you wanted? Grab the wheel. The ship is yours.
Guys, I think this game might have been about the captain the whole time.
It's not turning. The control lever is stuck. I can't move it. Engine room full astern.
We're doing 20 knots. It's not safe.
Come on, back, emergency, or I'll have you court-martialed.
Full astern. Fire in the engine room. Reactor shielding initiated.
Can't we stop it?
Oh. The first officer fucked up and caused the reactor to explode. Now, with this information, that changes everything. I think. Although a quick nuclear explosion is... So were they eating each other? They still take the captain to the helicopter, a thing they probably should have used a week ago. But the reactor explodes and...
The brave Danko cast his eye over the endless steppe, cast a joyful eye over this land of freedom, and gave a proud laugh. And then he fell down and died.
You... what? What is this Gmod shitpost? Okay, I think that wraps up the story. This is everyone's fault. The captain made a mistake, but it's not like he's always been a fuck-up. But then the captain was doing a thing that could have broken them free from the iceberg, but the first officer stopped him and did the opposite, which overloaded the reactor. So the lack of trust and the breakdown of proper communication led all of these people to their deaths. This here, though, this red orb has no body attached to it or anything, So this has to be the end game, Red Orb. So finally, we can go back to whatever Arctic research station we came from, have a nice hot chai, and the commies can come and salvage the ship in the morning. I mean, the reactor blew up. What else could go wrong? What? To say at this point that I have no idea what's going on is still a colossal understatement. Chronos is the final boss, and I absolutely had to look up how to beat him because I was hopelessly confused. It's not exactly my fault that the game introduced mechanics and characters at the very last minute that might help explain why the protagonist survives any of this and why he can suddenly quantum leap into people. Quantum leap isn't a boomer-ass reference because they made the show again. It's on right now. Time is an illusion that we all agree to. So you have to win a competitive game of whack-a-mole with Chronos. That's what your hands are doing. And you shoot little balls at the enemies. So while the game didn't prepare you for any of this that's happening right now, it did instill a sense that red, heat, is better than blue, cold. And I guess that's enough.
Against you. Protect yourself, or they will eat you.
I'm so tired of these people and their constant arguing and squabbling and backstabbing. Enough! You're dead! Shut up!
What's the matter? Isn't this what you wanted? Grab the wheel. The ship is...
It's not turning! The control lever is stuck! I can't move it! Help me! The telegraph...
Oh God, stop. I can't watch these people die over and over.
For if one falls, another will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, and hath not another to lift him up.
Hold on, Captain. I will beg HQ on my knees for the ship. Just you hang on.
We are getting out! Out! Open water! We've made it! We're underway!
Oh God, no, no, please, no spinning. Chronos, please have mercy on me.
Grab my hand! Grab my hand! Come on! Come on, grab! I'm the captain of the North Wind nuclear icebreaker. Welcome. You are lucky. The ice is rather thin here. You could have easily gone under. Well, now, no time to lose. Let's head for the ship. We have some rough times ahead. And let us send your wonderful dogs back. Unlike us, they always find their way home.
So, everybody lives? Everybody lives! We changed history, but we were sent out to investigate the North Wind, so if the North Wind escaped, and now it's here and the captain is rescuing us, and he looks older, so I think we did good? Yeah! That is, without a doubt, the best Slav jank I've ever seen. 11 out of 10. What a ride. This wasn't Action Form's last game, but it was the last game that wasn't Carnivores related. The main people behind the studio went on to head up Tatum Games, who make mobile games. Maybe it's not as glamorous as what they were doing before, but I really do hope that they're all doing well. Wow. Can't believe I went this entire episode without mentioning the war. Oh,